You know, James Herriot's All Creatures Great and Small, it's so much more than just a memoir. Think of it as this incredible literary sanctuary, a place where humor, humility, and humanity all come together. We get to see the world through the eyes of a young vet just starting out in the rugged, beautiful landscape of 1930s Yorkshire. And Herriot invites us right into this world where, believe me, every single creature, every farmer, and every last muddy lane has a story that is absolutely worth telling.
And that quote, it really just sets the stage for everything. We're not just getting a collection of cute animal stories here. We're really getting a deep dive into life itself, all framed by the hills and the hearts of the Yorkshire Dales. It's this profound sense of place and real, honest heart that has made this book a timeless classic. So picture this. James Herriot, fresh out of Glasgow Veterinary College, shows up in Derby, which is a stand-in for the real town of Thirsk. He's got a head just buzzing with theory and a heart that's genuinely eager to serve. But he finds out really quick that the countryside has its own way of teaching things. His first job, working for the brilliant and, let's say, eccentric Siegfried ends up being less about clinical precision and way more about just adapting to the wild, unpredictable rhythms of rural life. Harriet's first few experiences are this amazing mix of total awe and crippling anxiety. I mean, one minute he's called out to treat a cow in a freezing barn, the next he's dealing with a horse in a vast moonlit field, and then suddenly he's in a lavish drawing room with some pampered pet. Every single case is a lesson, and not just in veterinary medicine, but in patience, in empathy, and in the simple, powerful art of just listening.
And oh, the people who populate this world, they are truly unforgettable.
Okay, first up, you've got Siegfried. This guy's brilliance is only matched by his totally erratic moods and his habit of giving you completely contradictory instructions. Then you have Tristan, Siegfried's charming younger brother. His whole purpose seems to be adding comic relief and a dose of youthful chaos to everything. You know, sleeping through emergencies, botching his assignments, you get the idea. And you absolutely cannot forget Mrs. Pumphrey and her pampered Pekingese, Tricki Woo. Her devotion to this little dog is next level, almost like he's royalty. The letters she sends, the gifts, her over-the-top concern for Tricky's flop bought, it's both hilarious and somehow incredibly touching.
And then there's Helen Alderson. She's this quiet, grounded farmer's daughter who brings a much-needed sense of warmth and stability to what is otherwise a complete whirlwind of a life for Herriot.
But you know, for all these memorable people, the real soul of this book, it lies in the animals. Each one is like a little mirror, reflecting its owner's own hopes, their fears, and their affections. Whether it's a sheepdog who just refuses to leave his master's side, or a cow whose tough labor becomes this whole communal effort, Herriot treats every single creature with this incredible, profound sense of reverence. So the book unfolds through all these little stories, these episodic tales, and each one is like opening a window into the real emotional landscape of being a vet out in the country. So in one moment, you'll have a piglet literally bite Herriot right in the middle of a surgery, leaving him bruised but pretty amused. Then, in another story, he's up against a farmer who insists on using old herbal remedies, which challenges all of Herriot's modern training. And then the tone can shift completely. A beloved dog's death leaves a family absolutely shattered, and Herriot is right there, grieving quietly alongside them. What all these stories really get across is that the job was never just about medical cases. They were deeply emotional encounters. Herriot had to be so much more than a vet. He became a confidant, a counselor, and a lot of the time, just a silent witness to life's most private and powerful moments. And of course, none of these encounters are happening in some sterile office. Herriot's descriptions of the Yorkshire Dales are so poetic, so reverent, that the landscape itself basically becomes a character in the story. I mean, he writes about things like fields glittering under the first pale sunshine and wisps of mist hanging on the high tops. It's just beautiful, and it perfectly captures this spiritual connection between the land and the life that it sustains. The harsh winters, those muddy, endless paths, and the absolutely breathtaking views, you can feel how it all shapes the people and what they value. The Dales demand resilience, and as Herriot's bond with the land grows deeper, it perfectly mirrors how his understanding of his own calling deepens too. So running through all of these stories are these big, universal ideas, and I think that's why this book continues to resonate so deeply with people, even today. There's this incredible sense of compassion, right? And it's not just for the animal, but for the human heart behind it.
We get a front row seat to Herriot's personal growth, watching him go from raw self-doubt to this quiet, earned confidence. It's all held together by this amazing sense of community, this web of relationships where neighbors genuinely help neighbors. And maybe most important of all, it teaches us about the profound joy you can find in simplicity. Finding something extraordinary in a calf's first breath, a farmer's gruff laugh, or just a dog's wagging tail.
And the romance. The way Herriot courts Helen is just so tender and wonderfully understated. You watch their relationship grow through shared silences, some awkward dinners, and this deep mutual respect. It's not some grand, sweeping, dramatic romance. It's a real one.
And their marriage, which is followed by a honeymoon where they spend their time tuberculin testing cows. I mean, come on, it's the perfect metaphor for a love that's truly rooted in a shared purpose and a genuine partnership.
So when you get right down to it, All Creatures Great and Small is so much more than a vet's memoir. It's a celebration of life in its most authentic and, yeah, often its most messy form. The book just reminds us that there's dignity in every single creature, that a little bit of humor can soften pretty much any hardship, and that service, when you do it with all your heart, is always its own reward.